is the Elevated Look Show, hosted by Mark Stampfly.
Raj Jawa, like the Star Wars character.
Sure. Sure.
Actor, filmmaker, pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about where you are now, actually, in terms of, you know, you've been acting for a while, you've done a lot of independent work, and are you still, you know, we were kind of talking, you know, off camera about like just the passion for it. You know, it's a different world now. Yeah. Things change, and you know, is your heart still in acting? Where do you want to be? Are you still pursuing it?
I think I am. You know, it's a hard question. I think you're right that the business has changed a lot and become, you know, perhaps even more fractured. I think there was a time when I was in school, when I was making films, that
What school did you go to?
I went to COC, and then I went to CSUN, but I did not get my bachelor's. So I have associates in film and part of a BA, I guess.
Was there a reason that you didn't finish the? Were you in the TV and film program at
I
CSUN?
was.
You were?
The editing option. I submitted for cinematography, but they put me in editing, which works for me as well.
Okay.
It was
It's a
fine.
great skill to have.
Yeah. I enjoyed editing already at that time. I was making my own films, and I never really handed off to an editor, which maybe is a bad thing. You know, you never know. Sometimes having another eye on something can be very helpful. But when you're working by yourself, you know, working with student films, it's much easier to kind of wear all the hats.
Just do everything yourself.
And then you get into a habit of that. You're just like, oh, I like it this way. And it's cheaper this way, of course, too, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm at a point of discovery. In that sense, because you know, during the pandemic, during being in Boston, but I'm not like over eager to like jump back into acting classes and auditions.
Yeah.
I did pay for my SAG membership, so I am still in the union.
Well, that's a good thing. Not everybody has that.
You know, that's the thing. You want to. That's one thing I want to keep at least a part of. At least keep it in the back pocket until I know for sure. Like, I'm done with this.
Well, so there's definitely a part of you that's still, you know, wants to act because you wouldn't, you know.
That's the thing. I love this business. I never really found, you know, I kind of explored around college a little bit, different art things, you know, web design, photography. Film was the one that really spoke to me, but I think I'm discovering, like, I don't think I knew the reason why. I think that's part of my discovery, is figuring out what I want to be doing.
Okay.
I think I took a greater value to finding a way to make the business make sense. Because as an actor, you're basically spending a lot of money, and sometimes, especially, you know, independent work, to work for free.
Sure.
So after a while, it just if you are someone who's just like looking at the budget all the time, it's just like, this doesn't make sense.
Okay. Well, you hit on something that I think might be an interesting thing for us to talk about, is that element of discovery. And you're saying that's something you're doing now, but you're also saying that when you started out, you're not exactly sure why you got into filmmaking and acting. And I'm kind of curious because I actually got my general ed done at COC as well. Okay. And I'm kind of curious to hear your perspective. Like, did you know you wanted to get into the film and TV program? I believe back then it was called, or at least when I was there, it was called Film, TV, and Radio, actually.
Yeah, radio, TV, film, RTVF.
Yeah, RTVF. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how the radio fits in now, but well, I mean, I know podcasting, I guess, kind of comes close to that now.
It's true.
It's a new radio.
Yeah.
But like, what drew you into that world to begin with? Because like, you know, you're talking about like that discovery. What was that initial discovery?
Well, my friends were doing weird, goofy type films at the time. Like way back, like we had my parents got a like handy cam type camcorder.
Sure.
And so like we made real like nonsense type films.
I was
or
there
not even
too.
films. Just like funny
videos.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Like a mix between a home video and a ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
What might go viral today? You never know. And then from there, I met up with a group of friends that took it a little more seriously. Like they I don't know if they saw Tim and Eric or they were just inspired, or they just, you know, had that same type of what do you call it? synergy or whatever that type of thought. I forget what it's called. Singularity. That type of singularity towards a same type of media. But yeah, it was like ridiculous, but it was a little more formulated, a little more, a little more professional. Just a tad.
Just a little bit.
We're talking, we're talking very marginal.
Okay.
And they actually started in the film program, so I kind of followed them.
Okay.
And then they fell off of it.
No, were you guys in like the same classes and things over there?
Yeah, for a bit. I think maybe one semester they actually stayed with it, and I think they just moved on to probably better, more paying things. I think maybe psychology or whatever.
Oh, really? So they got out of the program before they.
Yeah, I don't think any of them do
COC.
any kind of film stuff now.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't.
But you stayed in it, and so you liked it enough where you stayed in it because you.
I did. I really fell in love with it. I had. I think for me at the time it was a way to tell stories.
Okay.
Because I was really shy and not really able to kind of like, hey, this is me,
Yeah.
So I think I found a way to like, hey, here, let me like, I can force you to watch this.
Yeah. It's a kind of a creative expression that you're allowed to kind of share with people.
Absolutely. So that, for whatever reason, I didn't draw or other, beyond sketches or whatever doodles. So that felt like, oh, I have this art, for once. And I really connected with it, and I really enjoyed it, and I think that's why I'm still, even if I'm on the periphery of it, I think I do very much enjoy it.
Did you get to make a film or films while you were at COC? Did you show them like in the COC Film Festival or in classes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A couple.
Do you remember your teachers, Bob?
Yeah. I had.
Who did you have?
Well, most impressionable in probably positive and negative was probably Mike Ott.
Okay.
He graduated from Cal Arts, so there as well.
I don't think I ever had him.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
No. He because he came from Cal Arts, he had a very I'll just save it. Specific is good. I was going to say pretentious, but specific is a good word.
I did actually have for my undergraduate degree, I had a teacher from Cal Arts, I believe, and but it was like kind of the same thing. It was definitely maybe a little pretentious or elite kind of mentality with art, but also kind of hard in a good way.
Yes.
Because where a lot of people would be like, oh, that's a great film.
Okay.
No, he'd tear it apart.
Absolutely.
And you kind of need that.
You sure you
early
didn't
on.
have Mike Ott?
I didn't.
Wow,
that
sounds exactly like him.
Yeah.
But that is good. That is good because I as much as it sounds like when you're a kid and you were like you hear that this teacher is mean because he's trying to get people to not be filmmakers or not pursue this. In a way, that's
not being mean. Yeah,
it's respectable because it is not. It is a harsh business.
Mm-hmm.
It is a difficult, and you're not. If you're looking for someone to like come and give you a hug after you finished a film or whatever,
absolutely,
it's not going to be there. And even if that's, sometimes that's
not all the time. Sometimes it might happen. You
true.
might get it, but at the same time, I think there's some kind of like you said, level of respect in a teacher who is harsh because either two things. Maybe you find out you aren't cut out to be a filmmaker.
Absolutely.
Or your heart, like if you are getting that and you still love it, then that says something too. Like you're still going for it.
Definitely.
Or it's like just a level of like kind of learning the thick skin of the industry too.
Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, you love it still, you think you're good, but no, maybe not, but get better.
Right.
Get better.
Absolutely. And I think that, you were saying tough skin. I think that has kind of extended, we're all kind of in this day and age now.
Yeah.
Because when I was in school, internet, YouTube, it was all kind of like a little bit like it was coming up, but nobody kind of knew. I'm sure some people, but most people, the majority, didn't understand the power of it and what it was going to become. And I'm among that. It's sad to say, as much as I'm like, I know tech. Sometimes you just have no idea what's in front of you.
Yeah, well, I think we were younger too. We were kind of.
That's true.
We're
not investing in the stock market.
Yeah, exactly,
like we're not. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's a good point. it's true. Yeah, but I think that because of that, I think social media it became or it's easy to get lost in a game of what. do I have the analytics that back up me staying in this business?
Oh,
essentially,
yeah, sure.
like, are people
Sure.
watching this? Are people liking
Yeah.
this? And if you go for a while, like, people seem to grow YouTube channels very quickly these days. Like, I started in September. It depends. Oh, it totally depends.
Yeah.
I 100% believe it depends.
I think it's pretty tough now. I think it would have, like 10 years ago, you got to really, if you go back in time 10 years and start your channel, you have a really good
That's
shot
true.
at this.
That's
if you
true.
keep with it.
Of course.
That's the other. Consistency
Of
is
course.
honestly probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm a little bit out of the entertainment sphere because mostly what I watch on YouTube is informative, either finance or other type of content. Tech as well. But
Informational, educational kind of things.
Well,
I like that stuff too.
I mean, not to, like, it seems a little derailing, but like, most of whatever money I make, I don't, spend a lot of money, but most of it goes to either stock market or cryptocurrency to invest. I feel like
smart. You got to play it smart.
And that's the thing. I don't. I've been bad at making money throughout my career. I think having that parental background and being even say it spoiled.
Yeah.
In that
when you
way.
Say parental background, they were supporting you.
Right.
So you
I
didn't have
to get a job.
From Indiana to Hollywood, and now you're pursuing your acting, but you also have to make ends meet too.
Absolutely.
So
that was fortunate, but also maybe a negative in a way because you don't have to find a way to make that work.
See, that's a really good. I mean, I always think about that too. I'm like, there is something to say about when when you put the fire under you, like to make it or break it. There is something to be said about that, but then it's also like, well, there's also something to be said in like, well, when you do get your moment, when you can make it, and when you can pursue it wholeheartedly, then how do you do it too?
It's
true. It's interesting. It's an interesting kind of dynamic of those two.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the industry's always been hard. I mean, that we go back to hard teachers. That's what they've always been saying. No one's ever. At least in this, this span of that we've been alive, has said, "Oh, this is a great industry. Go right in. You're gonna break through." Yep. But I think for people who enjoy it, for people who have it in them, they just want to keep going with it. They can't. They don't like for me. I don't. If I don't do this or I think something like it, I don't. What am I doing? Like my work at my parents' store, I'm grateful for it, but I don't have a particular job there. Okay. I'm more kind of
just helping out wherever it needs to be
helped out. I'm kind of moral support. I'm not really like a customer person. I'm more of a back office. Okay. And there's not a lot of back stuff to do, So I'm kind of just there, again, watching YouTube and taking too much time to think, which is great, not really great space for me, because I just spend a lot of times like, oh, why, where's my success? Or, I feel sometimes like I've kind of hit the top of what I have the ability or budgets to do. Okay. Like I'm not a schmoozer in terms of like, hey, can I get you to pay for my film or whatever? So like I've done a lot of like these low budget sketches, and they're great, and I just enjoy doing it. The problem is you just start looking like, well, this is time I could have spent doing something else.
Do you think it's better because like you were saying? I don't know if you said on camera, but you said like one of the last things you did was the movie Free Guy, right?
Yes.
And so you got a role in that. You think it's better than just to, or maybe even specifically now, but you can also kind of reference the past too, pursue just the kind of commercial level work and not even bother with like pretty much put all your time and effort into trying to get those, whether it's from like being a background or one line and getting those kind of things. As opposed to maybe getting a media role, but you're not gonna get really financially rewarded from it.
I think it really depends on your situation, because like I think like I was doing background in Boston. That was kind of other than Free Guy. That was primarily where I was making any kind of film money, which wasn't much. Most of my money came from Uber driving.
What's the hourly rate for background casting in?
It's good. The pay is. I think it's. I don't know if it's different. I wouldn't say it's. I don't know if
I don't know what it is right now.
I don't know if I know the rate.
I don't know what the union rate is right now.
I was never disappointed with the paycheck.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm not saying that. Oh, this is a lot of money, but it just for
what you're doing, it's pretty reasonable.
And all the bonuses, like as soon as they
bonuses and everything.
Well, and as soon as they do anything, we got them wet. There was fog. And I'm not saying we don't. I'm not. Hard fought money union. And
sure.
I think it's positive.
That's why you're in the Senate.
Right.
That's why you
Exactly.
paid that $3,000.
Right. And it sucks to think like, these non-union guys aren't getting anything. They're just getting a flat, maybe 125 or whatever. I think is what's happening today.
I'm curious what that rate is actually right now.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I haven't. See, that's the thing. I got off LA Casting and other sites, so I don't know. And that's part of it. The job of an actor is a lot of sunken costs. You spend all day or whatever, applying to jobs or, submitting auditions, self-tapes, especially now with after the pandemic, most people, I think, have preferred to go to self-tape, which is great. I think that's easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, can also be more stressful because there's no one to say, okay, thank you, we're done.
Yeah.
You're just basically like, was that good enough? Was that one good?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, maybe. But I want to cut it. Like this part in the beginning of this one was good, but like you can't. It's like you don't want to have that chop in the middle of an audition. So it's just like
okay.
So
now that you're back in LA, are you still doing what are you doing in the acting space? Are you doing background? Are you applying to auditions?
Nothing directly. I reconnected with a friend of mine, and but I think right now I'm doing second AD work.
Oh, really?
So call sheets, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I just kind of want to be in the industry now.
Okay.
Especially getting paid would be nice.
Sure.
I think I've as much as I do want to be on camera, I have taken a more pragmatic role towards what I do in this space.
Yeah.
Like I love acting and I love filmmaking. It's just how to do it practically. And I'll be honest. Like I even if I had the money, I don't know that I would spend it on like doing a production like I used to.
Okay.
It just it'd have to be a really like, oh wow, this thing. Like part of film,
like as a filmmaker, right? Like what would be
filmmaker,
is that what you're talking
actor?
about?
I think. Well, what I was gonna say
you're saying you're spending money on production, like
that's true.
Like basically funding your own project.
Absolutely.
Where you can, I guess the question is like, is it because you just enjoy doing it? Is it because you have something to say? Is it because you want to give people this or get that or both or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think I just enjoy it. I think it's as simple as, and I don't like want to be the top guy. Like when I was an actor or when I'm an actor, like I don't need to be like the principal or anything. Even just supporting characters is great with me. You could argue background is that kind of space, but you have to. Well, I was gonna say you have to appreciate the whole cattle feeling of it because it's just like, and not every extra work is gonna be like 20, 30 people where it doesn't feel like it matters. But at the same time, it's just that is the lowest rung on the film totem pole, I'm not disparaging it in any way. It's absolutely
it's a good way to
necessary.
get on set, honestly.
And it's a great way to get paid. That's the thing.
Good way to get some money doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And also to get on set and make some of those connections.
It's true. It's very true. If that's the kind of that's not the kind of person I am. I'm very again. It goes back to me being kind of shy. But absolutely, it's. Like I have an assumption like people don't want me to walk up to them and like say hey but that is exactly what networking and schmoozing is.
Yeah.
There's a confidence that comes with that where you should be like I'm I
don't think it comes naturally to everybody, but I would say if somebody was asking me for advice in that world, if somebody's like I'm gonna be a background actor, what should I do? I would be like try to make friends with the people on set, whether it goes horribly, because there's a lot of ego on set and like, why are you talking to me? Like, you're gonna get that. But I would say do it, and you don't be real about it. Don't be fake about it.
Right.
But like be real about it, and if you'll learn a lot, I think, even from those failures.
Sure.
You'll be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I approached the AD at the wrong time. I should have caught him when he was in a better mood. I'll go talk to him. The next time I'm on set, I'm gonna talk to him. Like, this is a good time to, So, but I would say that's that's a good skill. Anything that can give you an edge, that will give you an edge to do. And it doesn't come naturally to everyone. Not everybody is like an extrovert that would be that kind of person. Right. So, I would even say I probably lean more introvert. Like I'm ambivert, but I would probably lean a little bit more introvert. And I think, but I would still say even for introverts, I think that's a very good skill to kind of develop.
And see, I would not peg you for an introvert, so that's it's an interesting thing to know.
I like both. I would really, if I had to say it, I'd say I'm an ambivert, which is kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I think there's even if you're an extrovert, like there's still probably elements like where you are like an introvert. So it's not like just like this extreme.
No,
cases,
of course, yeah.
But yeah, I like both. Like that's one of the reasons I actually really like the filmmaking is because I like directing. I like producing. I like interacting with a bunch of people. I like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But then I also like just going off by myself and writing. Like I enjoy that too.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of feeds. That's one of the reasons I like the industry or like filmmaking in general, is because I'm able to kind of feed both of those, avenues.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I think that did remind me too, because I think part of the reason why I got in was. In a side way, to try to force myself to be more social. You go to auditions, you have to say hi to people. Do they want me to shake? Do they not want to shake? You have to deal with all these social situations that if you don't socialize otherwise, you may not go through. So in a way, I guess maybe my journey through the industry was almost a journey through. Being more socially normal, I guess.
Well, no, I think, and I think I always thought like your self-expression, everything was at a pretty good level. Like I never thought that, like a lot of people, like you post, I haven't been following up to your content like on lately, like everything you do, but I know I see like you post videos and stuff all the time, and a lot of people would be very even afraid of like that, because like they're afraid like what people are gonna think. And so I think there's definitely a certain level that you have already for being able to do that, because not a lot of people can do that.
It's true. It's true.
That's what actually holds a lot of people back is, they're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they can't even get started, and they can't do it consistently. So
it's true. And I think, I think in the way that things become fractured, I think it's finding where your best, where your efforts lie, because whether they're. Back in the day, and especially even before us, it was just like mainstream releasing channels. Maybe there were some indies, but it was pretty much just the big films.
Sure.
Getting, at least some distribution even.
We're kind of back to that now, huh?
In a way, yeah, it's true.
A little bit.
And it seems like, there was a time when indies were kind of like, oh, they're really hot, and they were kind
at
of
least in terms of
them.
movies. I mean, TV is its own world, like obviously blown up, but
and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like you also have there's totally people having success within the YouTube realm. I don't know if it's just all ad based, but there's sponsorships. There's all kinds of places.
I have friends that are, I know people. I have friends in that world, and it's quite the industry. Like you can make a very, very successful living. Yeah. Whether it's getting views, some people do it differently. Some people get views, some people get sponsorships, the merchandise,
affiliates,
or all the above.
Yeah.
All the above.
Absolutely.
Leveraging other platforms, So I think it's, and also like a lot, like one thing not that there are those people that like have sudden success and are like, wow, come on, like whatever. Right. But a lot of those people are really hard workers. They are. It's like, true. I think I misjudged that industry like early on. I'm just like, oh, come on, like this girl with her little makeup line doing this, like, come on, what is this here?
Right.
But like there's from knowing people, I know how much, and even doing a little bit myself with the podcast, putting the podcast on YouTube, I know how much work it is to put it together, to promote it, to do, figure out the trends and that whole world. Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I think it's very easy to get like, you feel like, oh, I did all this work, I put this crew together and I did this, I wrote a script and whatever. Sure. And these people are just like, throwing it up on YouTube. But, you're right. There is a lot of work happening in the background for many of these people as well. And then sometimes it's just luck. There's opportunity and luck.
But I'd say the luck is a lot less than what people would think.
For sure. No, it's opportunity. It's absolutely more opportunity than luck.
And timing as well. Like timing is huge. Like, if you had started and stayed with doing a YouTube channel 10 years ago,
right,
there's a really good chance that you're doing very well today.
It's possible, absolutely.
Or at least did very well for quite a few years.
Someone may have been like, hey, we see what you've been doing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, and it's interesting, that even kind of going back to a topic I think about in terms of like just the art and the business, like you're saying, like you make a project, but like who's gonna watch it? Like that's something to consider. Is like, well, do I just love this project? I just have to get it made, no matter who watches it, even if it's just one person sees it, or is there a sense that, well, let me take this idea and make it more, put it into a more commercial vehicle. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, and I kind of lean a little bit more that way these days. Like I think it's, if you can do that, I think there's kind of an art to that, into taking something that is powerful and has a great message, and then putting it into a vehicle that will get to the masses, so people can see it and appreciate it and learn and be inspired and laugh, cry. Like I think there's something to that. I think there's a little bit more to that than before. And there's extremes either way. But before I'm just like, oh, I've got this masterpiece. I'm gonna make it, and I don't care what people think. And there's something to that. But yeah, I think like we were talking about, the balance of the art and the business is always something to kind of consider.
I agree. And I think maybe that speaks to, at least in my opinion, to the idea that sometimes you can't do everything yourself. Sometimes you need to find someone who can provide that balance. I think this, as things got easier to do, by ourselves, I think people got an idea. It's like, oh, I don't need anyone, and I don't think that's always the case. I mean, some people can. Some people are able to literally take every skill and just master it and do it that way.
Very rare, though.
I think right. I think some people do need people like I don't think despite coming from a business background in my family, I don't think I have a strong sense of business in general. Like I'm not a consumerist. Like my house is pretty minimalist, especially that it's a rented apartment. But it's I don't I don't, like I said, I put most of my money in trying to find ways to make money later, because that's not something I'm good at. I haven't been able to. Well, it's smart
that you've kind of figured that out, though, because a lot of people don't kind of figure out that thing, and I think that's kind of the beauty of if of any passion, is if you can figure out a way to kind of leverage your money so you get the passive income so you can do what you want to do. Sure. Then you're doing what you want to do for the right reasons. So there's something to that for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so you're big in the crypto world, huh?
Big. I mean, like,
You're a big shark in that world, right?
Yeah, No,
I've seen the videos. You have some videos going on, right?
I do. I've shared one, at least that I can recall right now, about it's just an application that you can get cash back on crypto at certain websites. Okay. When you make purchases.
So what is what's like the best like crypto platform you would recommend for people who?
I would not be confident in giving that answer.
Come on, you're the big crypto shark here.
No, that's the thing. But that's the thing. I think it's all a matter of the risk you're willing to take. Like,
sure.
That's the thing. People are talking about like decentralized finance right now.
Yeah, and which I love.
Do you?
I do.
See, that's the thing. That's not even a world I'm even in.
I like that
despite
idea.
really liking crypto. You like the idea, but you're not in it.
Oh, I mean, in crypto?
No, DeFi, specifically decentralized finance. Like,
I mean, what do you mean in it?
Like they're talking DeFi, like people who are getting these really high APYs from applications like Curve Finance or Compound, and other like. Finance, rather than like the more usual APYs from like a BlockFi or some coins on Coinbase.
Yeah, I would say
Celsius.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not deep into the DeFi.
Okay.
I like the idea of a DeFi, decentralized finance system.
Same.
Do I think it's going to be 100% decentralized?
No,
Probably not, or at least not for long. There's just governments, are governments for a reason. So It's not gonna. But I like the general that concept and getting as close to that as we can.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot. But in terms of being in that, no. Like for me, I am in the crypto space, but in terms of investing, but again, I agree with you. I think it's something that get in. One, don't throw don't throw all the darts at the dartboard.
Absolutely.
And be willing. Like if you lost, if crypto was completely blocked tomorrow, would you be okay? Like, are you going to survive? You know. So I think that's two things to consider.
Absolutely.
But no, I like the coins where you can get a better interest rate than a bank.
Absolutely.
And there's something to that. There's something to that. Like, and I would say most I've had I'm not a huge baller in the world, but I've had success in that space, and I think there's still a lot of success to be had because I still think as as it is getting more popular, I still think it's not as popular as where it is going to be.
It's potential, sure.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of room.
And I think the fact that the institutions have come in more strongly, especially this year, I think gave a lot of more credibility to it as well.
Sure.
Even if it exists as two different things, you have centralized finance and you have decentralized finance, kind of hand in hand. I see that very much as a possibility
because I
think. Again, like those institutions are not going to want to, as long as those yields are sustainable, they're not going to want to give them up.
Of course.
If they can, we'll see. Like again, that whole space, people talk, and that could be a house of cards. The whole Tether situation, for instance. So.
The Tether is the one they attach it to the USD $1 bill.
Right, but it's not. Well, one of the ones, but it's not. There's questionability about how it's backed. If
so it's not backed in real dollars.
Right. That is what is what the and I don't want to speak out of turn.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like a company, there's other vehicles of cash or cash-like instruments.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about, but this is what you see when you see a balance sheet. So, you hear words like, commercial paper or whatever, and then, that requires a whole different field of I need to be deep into finance to understand all this. But essentially like holding debt in a company.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, what happens if,
Right.
everybody cashes out there?
I mean, that depends. Like, I do watch a lot of finance YouTube, so it depending on what you watch,
So are you doing videos in that space still, or what do you have your channel, or what do you?
I mean, I have my channel. I think I kind of embrace the.
What's the channel name?
Huh?
Is it just Raj Jawa?
Just Raj Jawa, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't. There's no. I don't have a direction. Like I think I have embraced directionlessness on my YouTube channel, and not that I'm releasing a lot, but just I don't know what I'm doing quite right now. But in terms of creation.
Yeah, you're doing different things. Like
right.
You're throwing different.
Yeah, because I kind of got into the streaming space, like video game streaming, and that's a lot of fun.
Like Twitch.
Yeah, like I'd stream it on Twitch, and then I would try to go back and
post it on YouTube.
YouTube with an edits and trying to add comedy to it as much as possible.
How is that? Is it like?
I enjoy it. Okay. It's a lot of work because.
How is it to build? I actually haven't really talked to anybody on the podcast about the video game streaming world. Like, is it? I don't know that world very much at all, actually, and I know you can, make an account on Twitch, make a username, and then, maybe you're that person who plays World of Warcraft, and somebody's going to watch you play World of Warcraft. You're doing it every, Tuesday night, and everyone's... But is it, how is it built? Anybody can obviously sign up and start, but, to build an audience on there has got to be... how do they promote you and everything? I'm kind of curious how that...
I don't think... it's like YouTube. It's similar to YouTube. It's kind of...
But it's not as saturated as YouTube, right? So maybe it's a good place to, or is it very saturated?
I think it's pretty saturated.
It's pretty saturated.
I would say so.
Okay.
I think most people have picked up on it, and it kind of has a quirky logo and kind of feels not as polished, but it's pretty up there. I'd say.
Okay.
I think I don't know if they're a public company or they're owned by somebody, but it's I wouldn't.
Because you're going live with that. The whole thing's live, right?
Yeah.
Or people can go back and watch your live session too.
They can for a time. I don't know if you pay. Yeah, it actually videos expire. from your channel. So if you're not streaming all the time, you could have channels that have no videos.
Got
because
it. Interesting.
They don't hold a what do you call it, an archive.
So when so say like you go on, you start streaming yourself playing a game, like are people notified, or how are you getting, or just people are like randomly seeing like feeds and then they click on yours, or
I think
that discovery, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like
absolutely.
How is that discovery like?
Right. No, I think it's the same thing. Because I'm not claiming to be discovered. I really don't have. I think Twitch is the smallest audience I have, which is I think maybe double digits something.
Okay. But are they like the same people every time, or is it just?
I don't
random?
know. I don't know who's watching because
okay,
honestly, I don't know. There was a time where there was somebody commenting, but
Okay.
more than that, now it's pretty
Okay.
much silent. But also I've had some latency latency with my computer, so I've kind of more embraced the editing side. But it kind of depends on what comes out. Similar to this format.
What are you playing? What game?
I really enjoyed supporting indie games, so I was kind of
Playing
trying
all
out
the different indie games.
yeah,
That sounds pretty cool.
different indie games, trying to give them exposure. Not that I'm someone
Yeah.
to give people exposure, but I think had the positions been reversed,
Yeah.
and I be a creator and somebody was making videos of me, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
I'm not claiming
No,
to
I
speak
get
for
what you're
anyone
saying.
I've created any games that have been created.
Well,
but-
also it's just it sounds like a good idea just because it's different. Like like there's like a million people playing like World of Warcraft or what is it, like League of Legends or some of
Absolutely.
those. I don't even know what all those, or I don't even know.
Right, absolutely. No,
I don't even know all those.
Yeah, I don't know what's popular right now. Actually,
But I think the fact that you're doing that's actually cool because there's probably not a lot of people doing that. I'm sure there's some, but that sounds kind
It's
of
something,
different
yeah,
and
for
unique.
sure.
So that's a good idea. Yeah. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to watch you stream one of these
no,
days.
please, yeah, and I try to do sketches, but it goes back to I feel, and I'm not like, oh, I've done it all, but like I just feel like I've hit the limit of what I. Like this is between the cost, the sunken cost, and
Sure.
is this fun?
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of like, it feels less and less worth it these days, unless I really found a way to, something like, oh wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Because I do a sketch. I try. Most of my ideas come straight from like inspiration, passion. Like I don't like do like let me brainstorm for a long
Or like
time.
have like a plan for the week. Okay, I'm
Right.
doing this sketch this day. I'm doing that sketch.
Yeah, no.
on Wednesday.
It's kind of like a flight of fury almost. Like
Okay. But those things can do very good. Like if you
if you have them all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
well,
thing.
it's not even. But I think you could have them. Yeah, it's just there's still a level of like even with those, there's a level of like discipline and like acting upon them.
Absolutely.
Like not that I'm like a big TikTok user, but I remember like I did one. I just saw a trend. I'm like, let me just film that. And I filmed this like just pun like trend going on, and it did like I had like 0 audience at the time, and it did well. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and I put it together. I'm like, that's pretty cool. But then I'm also not. I just don't have time to like do that like consistently.
Absolutely.
But those ones tend to do better than like, okay, well, I'm here. I might as well make a TikTok of this. But I think those more like spontaneous ones. There's something they come off more authentic.
Of course.
And inspired. So I think there is something to be said about that. But it still takes time.
So and authenticity. I mean, not that I'm going to have some deep thought on this, but it's an interesting concept. Because if you think about it, like as soon as you turn on the camera, it kind of ceases to be authentic in a way. But at the same time, there is I think people do enjoy the purest form of a person, a human being.
Yeah.
Generally, it just depends.
Yeah, because I think of like, because I'm still doing I have some brands on social media that I've been kind of building up. Elevated Look is still one that's kind of, we're still building our brand on that. I have another one that I'm kind of, it was doing really good, but then again, I was on hiatus for a while, so I'm kind of getting back to that one this coming week. And I kind of know everything that goes into it. And, there is a sense I've always thinking about it in terms of like, well, am I coming at it at the angle that just turn on the camera and film stuff? But then it's like everybody's doing that anyway, but it's more authentic. Or is it like, well, from my filmmaking background, I can do cool stuff. So like I'm doing drone shots. I'm doing other cool things, giving people like another perspective on something.
Right.
That they might otherwise not have, but then it comes off a little bit more polished. And so what is like the level of like authenticity and being too polished,
Right.
So I think that's always kind of something, not that I care, like for me, I would prefer to have that more polished product. In fact, even more polished than what I have.
Of course, yeah, no.
But and I would enjoy it personally. Like I would just feel more like fulfilled about it. But I also get the sense that, well, maybe certain platforms, maybe that it just doesn't work,
It is. It is an interesting thing to think about. It is something you should and people should step back and like, oh, what is this like throwing everything on every platform sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And if that's the best you can do, then that's the best you can do. But every platform does have a different voice, I guess would be a word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, like on YouTube you can do a more polished thing. On TikTok, I think it's getting a little bit more that way, but still the ones that do the best.
It totally depends.
Are not with the fanciest of cameras and.
Because you see some of those behind the scene videos I can only think of the one she like throws flour and then claps and then it becomes something else or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's very creative. But she was showing like the behind the scenes where it's just like the music plays for a second and then she stops and then like I don't know, the scene changes.
It's still a pretty elaborate kind of.
Pretty produced, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they say that about YouTube too. Like some of the shows that just appear like, hey, we're just guys hanging out.
Oh yeah.
Like they're actually
they're not.
Large media productions.
Sure, absolutely. That's funny. Like, where do you see like the entertainment industry going? Like, do you see it kind of going more in the like it's such a diverse kind of economy now of, movies and being the huge like blockbusters and TV and streaming, kind of even more streaming platforms coming, and then we have like the YouTube and the social media stars and influencing going on. Like, what do you see like kind of where do you see the industry going? Where do you see it going, and where do you want to see yourself in that industry?
That's two good questions. I wish I knew. I wish I could predict where it was going, because it is with how spread out it is. It's hard to tell. Like I'm sure there's many millions or billions of dollars behind it going towards the metaverse. Mm-hmm. I was listening to I think Disney CEO talk about how he sees Disney as part of the future of the metaverse. No real explanation how or why or in what way. Is it just as simple as like watching movies? He said specifically like bridging the gap between watching a movie and I think playing a game or a park experience. Like bridging the gap between a theme park and a movie. I don't know, and doing that in your living room. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of a thought to be like, it's just like 3D. 3D mm-hmm. never really like took off in the way. I mean, it has. Like 3D's all around us at mm-hmm. the same time. But like in video games, for instance.
Sure, yeah.
But like 3D with the glasses, like that was just like Betamax. Yeah. It like mm-hmm. didn't work. Mm-hmm.
I think it worked in certain circumstances, but it wasn't massively adopted.
That's true
like
too.
Avatar, the first Avatar movie in 3D. I remember seeing that at the Landmark Theater. I believe they had the best projection at the time, best like seat.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing. But that movie was also shot for 3D as well. A lot of movies were like post-produced for 3D, which is a whole different thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the ones that like were actually shot, there's a certain level like, oh wow, this is really cool. But it never really, I think until, which they do to some degree, but not cost effectively, until they can take away the glasses and it's 3D without the need for that, which there is that.
Right.
But it's just not cost effective.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's going to really be a thing, like that's going to be until that happens,
So you're saying the limitation is the wearable, essentially.
I think so, I think that is a big part of, the problem.
I know the Google Glass didn't work, but somebody came back in the space. Is it Apple that has some kind of glasses in that? Maybe I think they're just AR. They're not.
No,
like,
there is another glasses that which one? What company was it? But no, yeah, AR is actually funny enough. AR is actually one of the last technologies that really impressed me, and that was back in how long ago was that? It was like 3 or 4. It was before the pandemic. I went to the AT&T Shape conference on the Warner Bros. Studio Lot. I don't know if you ended up going to that one. And they had a company there. I forget the name of the company, but they had a AR experience there with Game of Thrones. And you put on the just regular glasses, so it's it looks like I'm seeing you now, but then they can digitally display stuff. And that was phenomenal because they had it where you could go and you could pick up something a real object, but in the thing it looked like a dagger, and then say that wall there, and very polished, all of a sudden it's a white ice wall, and then you see it start cracking, and then all of a sudden a White Walker is coming through at you, and you have to take the dagger and attack it. And I, and it sounds so cheesy, but the way they did it, it was the way they're using real objects and your environment, and then just the accuracy and polish of it at that level. It was a short 5 minutes, probably the whole experience. But it was a very impressive, five. I think there's a torch, fire. You also you bring the torch around. And,
that's great. And
just really impressive, the immersiveness of it, and I think you get, because I've done virtual reality before too. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's cool. But I never bought my own virtual reality system yet. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I think there's a different level, when you're incorporating the real world. It just brings it to, it just makes it more real, and the experience is a lot more intense.
Rather than fully immersing yourself.
Yeah,
in
which is funny
I'm
enough,
in this dark room.
You think the fully immersiveness you'd go more, but I think this level of incorporating reality into it, the augmented reality, AR, I actually think it's more powerful. I really do. From again, that's only my personal experience.
Sure, absolutely.
But I think it was way more powerful of an experience because I could still see the regular people around me, and then I'm going through this experience. So
well, and the whole world went gaga for Pokemon Go, and that was essentially just an AR experience.
Oh yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, very true.
So it's possible that comes back in another way.
I think so.
In a more commercial way.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it wasn't commercial, but in a more, I guess, more broad way.
Is it Facebook? Are they the ones doing the glasses? I know there's
the whole metaverse thing. I mean, they're all.
No, the AR. There's somebody has a recent a new. I'm pretty sure it's promoting a new AR glasses.
Okay, yeah.
It might be Facebook.
Is it? It might be. I thought it was Apple, but I could be
Maybe.
wrong.
It could be Apple.
I could. But yeah, it was hot for a week, and then I don't remember anyone talking about it.
It's just the wearing it all the that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I it's cool, but would I wear those glasses around and then you could really screw with people by hacking in the system and putting monsters in front.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of
and even just
even gonna bring to society.
Even not having your societal awareness, if you can't see what's actually happening around you, you don't know what's happening.
It's a scary world.
And I'm, that's a little dark, but at the same time, it is possible. It's something to think about,
With all the deep fake worlds, the
True.
deep fakes as well, the fact that, somebody could fake a newscast or something, with a leader or and them saying this and that, and that can have huge ramifications if, there's no safeguards in place to know if it's real or not.
Absolutely. Well, and the I guess the most fatalistic look is the wall. Well, no, not to go there, but the Wall-E situation, because I'm not the one who's made this comparison. But everybody kind of being immersed in their own digital whatever.
True.
What is but that's could also be us aging out at the same time.
Sure.
Maybe it is like Ready Player One, where we're living in stacked RVs, and the world is better if we.
I
just
really like
go
that
into
movie.
It's a great movie. I enjoyed it as well.
I really like that movie, but I think there's just a physiological connection that if you not having that human activity, human connection, I think there is something there, and I think taking that away is gonna be a problem.
The movie Her.
Actually, never watched that
Joaquin
movie.
Phoenix and I think Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it's just, it's like a Google Assistant.
Yeah, like Google Assistant. Yeah, something like that.
Advanced level.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. I think most people were
seen it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix though,
is
phenomenal.
Took off, and he definitely took off from that point, before that, wherever.
Okay.
But yeah.
I guess if you were to make right now, if you were to make kind of in terms of like your acting career, if there was one thing you wanted to do next year or accomplish, what would it be?
I don't know. I think really just get back in some sort of flow of it.
Okay.
Because that's really what I enjoyed. For all the brass tacks and trying to make it all make sense, when you're on set, that's all you care about.
Yeah.
Like that's what I enjoyed. It felt like it was a social gathering for me. We're there to work, but at the same time, it's probably one of the most fun workplaces you can have.
It's kind of like another family. It's like a community, and I think that's one of the other good things, especially even about LA, which I like, is you can really, you can go out and you can network with people, and you can find people like-minded with your passions fairly easily, especially if you're in that industry.
Very true. Not so much the case in Boston. It is a different world.
That. So
different world.
Absolutely. I could definitely see that. And like even if we go back to like the project that we worked on, like that was fun. Like I enjoyed it, and we learn a lot from those experiences too. Like the more you do, the more you learn. And I think there's something to be said about just the enjoying it to enjoy it. There's something to be said about that.
Absolutely.
And the community is strong. Like from that, like obviously I met you. I met so many people that were very whether they inspired me to do something or gave me new perspective. It was very profitable, profitable experience in connecting with other, entertainment professionals. Right. Which is one of the things Elevated, like what I'm trying to do with Elevated Look, is really provide a space that allows the community to come together, grow together, learn together, maybe eventually like support each other. That's kind of one of the goals of kind of the mantra of Elevated Look. So
that's great.
Because I think that's a big thing. When I first, if we go all the way back, we tie this all the way back, like back at College of the Canyons, one of the things that got me into film in the first place was this idea of being able to create. I loved creating. I actually did a little bit of like, I never got good, but I got into liking animation and drawing and comics, and like that was something kind of early on. But it didn't resonate enough to where like, oh, I want my career to be that. And I didn't have the passion just to kind of keep at it. But then the film side of it came along, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is more up my alley. Like, you're interacting with real people, you're still creating something. And I think one of the other draws of it, like you and your friends were making kind of like these silly, stupid movies, I was doing exactly the same thing.
Right.
In high school, we had started doing that, and that's kind of made me think, well, wait a second, now I can potentially do this professionally and like work with my friends, and family and creating. Like that sounds pretty awesome. Sure. Because it was such a great experience, even in the smallest scale. So I think there's something to be said about that. Like there's something to be said about that, community. It's something that's maybe different about the film industry or entertainment industry compared to a lot of other ones.
It's true. I mean, it's definitely it's a very unique workplace in that way, and it offers so many opportunities. That's the thing. It's not just we often talk about the actors and the directors and maybe the producers or editors or whatever, but that's kind of the extent of what people talk about. But there's caterers. There are a multitude of jobs that you could do. Lighting. Maybe
Gaffers.
You love. Maybe you enjoy exactly. Maybe you enjoy sound. Maybe you really want to get a crisp sound experience. There's so much to even. I mean, I think it's kind of people don't give it the respect it deserves. But DIT, the dumping of footage properly. Like all that, and logging properly, and even doing the job of editing properly is sometimes not. I when I'm editing myself, like I don't care. It's like none of this needs to be labeled. Who cares? Yeah. But especially when you go to college for editing, there's a lot of like, this has got to be done correctly because other people are going to be looking at this. Yeah. You're going to hand this off to somebody else.
Or if you're working with multiple editors, then you really have to have everything kind of, organized where it's not just you like, oh, I know I put it in that weird miscellaneous bin and I can pull it out. Now it's like, well, where's that soundbite?
Absolutely. In college I learned Avid, and then that program is like, it needs to be organized properly or it just will not work at all.
It's the good and bad about the system.
Yeah.
It's like once you have it organized, it is extremely like well-knit system, but it also, it can cause, if you don't have it organized properly, then you can have some headaches later on.
You're creating much more work for
Yeah.
yourself. But I did. Even though I don't use Avid today, I really enjoyed cutting it. Once you get the flow of it, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, same here. I use the Creative Suite now, but
oh, nice.
But I spent plenty of time, and I still know Avid, but I'm not currently using it for any projects. So
I have Pro Tools, Avid Pro Tools now. So maybe going in the music direction, but that's hard. It's difficult.
It's its own thing, yeah.
It's hard to, you know what I found? It's hard to be a beginner. It's hard to maybe even be humble and just like, I need to learn instead of just like, in film, not that I know everything, but I know enough to like make a project happen. Like it's done.
Yeah.
Like building Legos. Whereas something you don't know at all, it's just like, oh man, I gotta do all this. I gotta put on all this time again.
Yeah.
Well,
you must be interested enough that you want to kind of learn it.
It's a thought. I mean, it's for sure. I love music. I have a very
specifically music.
Yes.
The music side of it.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, like mastering, like I never really thought about it, like any kind of like audio type of thing.
And like mixing as well?
Maybe. Like I'm a real novice when it comes to music.
Is music producer Raj Jawa? Is that what we're gonna see here?
There you go. You'll see me in Fortnite. I'll be doing the whatever.
DJ Raj?
Right. I think there is one already actually, but
probably maybe DJ Jawa though.
Yeah, see that
would actually be more clever. Yeah.
I like it. Another double J though. See, I always have that double J.
You could you know how Marshmallow has a helmet on. You could be like have the like Jawa. Like look with just the eyes peeking out.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. It'd be its own thing.
For a while it'd work, man. And then get sued by Disney. It'll work.
You could make it tweak it enough.
Different color. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, Raj, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you here, and
absolutely.
I want to reconnect later. Definitely to see kind of what you develop into over in 2022, and we can reconnect and kind of do this again and do a little catch up.
Great. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Elevated Look Show. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes delivered directly to you.